Welcome back to the channel. Now that I have finished, 100% finished the front subframe, I now have to move on to fabricating the oil pan because the front differential takes up a lot of space and I designed a bunch of stuff. So I have a front sump oil pan that has baffling in it, and the rear is not too thin, but relatively thin. So I designed everything in CAD, measured everything first, designed it, sent everything off to Send Cut Send. So big shout out to Send Cut Send because they have been working with the channel, and without them this would be extremely difficult to have stuff like this done and get it quickly. Also, there is a link in the description for Send Cut Send with a discount code. So if you're interested in using their services, as I do, check out the link and get you some custom cut parts. Unwrapped everything from Send Cut Send, and I finished cutting up the Moroso oil pan even more. I wasn't expecting to cut this oil pan up this much. When I first bought it, I was planning on keeping it rear sump, utilizing the rear sump, and then, like I said before, there wasn't going to be enough oil capacity, so front sump was the best option. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go and mill everything down the same height. Up here, I'm gonna also mill everything down, but I'm gonna keep it, so this is a piece of CNC billet, so it matches the front of the block, or the front of the oil pump cover is kind of a weird shape like that. It could have just been like that. I don't know why Dodge did that, but it's kind of like this. So I'll mill everything down to whatever height gets it to not have any weld on it, and so it's all even. So let's go head over and use the mill. I now have the oil pan test fit on the engine in the subframe with the steering rack and the diff. Everything so far seems like it clears. It doesn't hit anything. On this side, I'm actually going to have to make this plate go on the inside instead of just capping it, just because it's so close to the rack. But besides that, we're good to go. The only other thing I'm concerned about, which I'm going to re-bolt this back into the Charger. I wanted to do that to test fit the headers. So I'm going to bolt the heads on here, bolt the headers on, test fit it back in the car. And the reason I want to do that is because this pan, you can see how much further it comes out than any Hellcat pan. So it comes out quite a ways, but the issue with that is if it comes out too far, which I measured it, I should be okay, but without test fitting, I don't want to have Hayden weld everything up and then have to go and cut stuff apart. So unfortunately, the headers from the Trackhawk aren't going to work in the Charger. I had my doubts, but I also thought I'd be able to modify them. But at the point I'm going to, at the amount of time I'm going to have in modifying these headers, I could just make a full custom set, which I think is going to be the better route. So I'll just use the stock Trackhawk headers for the time being, the factory ones. And you can see it's clears right here, but how these merges are welded on is you slip them in and then you weld all the way around, which once they're all welded together, it's almost impossible to, I could cut this off and get another merge like this, but it's almost impossible to get all that stuff welded. So I think the best plan of attack is to just use the stock ones, use these on the Durango, and then I could have something that's a little bit more custom. I'm going to lift the car back up, pull the headers off, and then I should just clear the oil pan. The oil pan just barely fits in there. Pretty glad that I decided to test fit the crank pulley. Not really 100% test fit it, but I just stuck it kind of in the correct location. So since I cut the oil pan to match the rear, I didn't think about it being higher up. So now the crank pulley actually touches the oil pan. That's not very good. So what I'm gonna do is I'm pretty much gonna draw a line right here, and I'm gonna give this a nice 25-degree bend from right here down. I now have this huge front sump oil pan fabricated for the Hellcat Charger, and I really like how this came out. So it's a really big sump in the front. I had to end up making my own pickup tube. The factory Hellcat one didn't work, and at the end of the day, I'm really happy that I ended up doing this. I cut up the Moroso rear sump pickup tube to make this one, which I should have just made one 100% from scratch, but I am using the lower mounting from the Hellcat pickup tube, and then I'm using a mandrel piece of 45-degree tube instead of the tube that Dodge uses with the Hellcats, it actually reduces wherever they have a bend, it like turns into this really restricted triangle at each bend. So now it's free flowing. It also has this bracket right here to support the pickup part. I still need to add a screen. Hayden's gonna weld all of this stuff up as well. I have the dipstick. You can see how much, look at that, how much fluid there is gonna be to the top or to the bottom of the pickup, and how much more capacity. The Hellcat pan is literally just this size, and it's like a little bit deeper, but I really like how this came out. So now we're gonna head up to Fort Collins, take all the pieces. There are quite a few. I also made my own trap doors for this oil pan, and how you do that, if you guys didn't really pay attention when I was doing the time lapse, is you just use some aluminum hinge material, and then the pin inside the aluminum hinge is also aluminum, but it's really tight. So you don't get this, you know, you don't get this nice free flowing or free moving hinge. You have something that won't work in an oil pan. But now you use a piece of stainless steel welding rod, and then you bend one end at a little bit over 90 degrees. Same thing on the other side, but you bend that at a 45-degree angle. So then you have a hinge that doesn't open more than 45 degrees. So if it does, then it could get stuck open because oil would be not able to push, you know, if it flopped all the way to the top, it would be ineffective. So let's take all this stuff. We have the new pickup tube screen mesh, everything, the holes drilled for the oil pan. We have all of the cutouts on the kind of like a splash shield slash tray. And then we have the baffle system that I designed. You guys ever watch Office Space? That is literally how I feel right now. Just watch it. It'll be the first part of the movie. Oh, the cat's at 11111. To Hayden's, let's go inside. So Hayden just finished welding up this jigsaw puzzle of an oil pan.
Yeah, for real. Only took us 4 or 5 hours to weld it all up and figure it all out, but I mean, we here.
Yeah, it's looking good, so can't wait to install it on the car. I appreciate you, Hayden.
Yeah, of course. Of course, yeah. Just keep bringing your oddball projects from your project.
Yeah, I think this is the fuel tank is going to be the last thing that you're going to have to, I think, weld up.
Well, that's good then. That means you're almost done. Right?
Yeah.
So you're getting close to being done.
Yeah, so this, I should be able to get once the subframe gets powder coated, get the engine in the car, and just have that fuel tank, and then it'll run and drive, which will be cool.
That sounds good. You just gotta double check it for leaks and
Yeah, we'll do the
it's good.
good old Titanic test.
Yeah.
See if she sinks.
There you go. Yeah, see if she floats or she sinks. Put the drain plug in it.
Yep.
That would be pretty funny. Hopefully it floats.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I don't think
Sure.
there'll be any problems. You know, you
so either,
you do some good welds and never had a problem before.
Yeah, the only time there really is like a problem is when it's a little dirty or something in a certain spot, and it'll just create like a little porosity bubble and can create like a little pinhole.
Yeah.
But nah, I think you're good. It seemed like it welded pretty good, so.
Yeah, cool, man. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Yes, sir, of course.
Just got back home from Hayden welding up the oil pan, and I'm very excited this is finally finished. So now once the subframe is powder coated, we could throw the engine and transmission into the charger, finally get this thing running and driving. But I'm gonna end the video here. Big shout out to Hayden. If you're wondering what his channel is, it's Meticulous. I'll put a link in the description. Also, if you like these videos, make sure to click the subscribe button, thumbs up, throw a comment below. As always, see you guys next time.